Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order at 5:30. Board Member Garcia, would you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. President Joey Acuña Jr.,
Here.
Vice President Jocelyn Vargas, Clerk Silvia Paz, Trinidad Arredondo,
Present.
Valerie Garcia,
Present.
Jesus Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our other two board members are on their way. They should be here shortly. And we go ahead and get started. Closed session, public comments. I have none for closed session, although we do have a gentleman who wants to talk. I believe he has to leave early, so let me make my little speech before you start, and then, sorry, you gotta go by the rules. Public comments, introductory comments. I gotta read the other one. Introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it in to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person, with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action items not on the listed agenda. Again, just you were going to make an exception, so you can go about your way, but normally this would be for when we come back from open session comments. All right, thank you. Mr. Glenn Gendron, Toro Canyon Middle School.
2 weeks ago tonight, we had a parent conference, and I'm here because of one of the concerns with the parents. We use our technology in the classrooms. We have Google Classroom we use Canvas. Everybody has tablets, and he's in an area where he has no internet for his child. And I'm just wondering how many others don't have internet. And, you know, years ago, prior superintendents, we had buses with routers out in these areas, and I understand that that has ceased, but I'm just concerned because we use a lot of technology, and I'm not the only teacher using it. I mean, it's throughout the campus, and it's great that all these students have these tablets, and, you know, it really helps them in the classroom. And I'm just wondering if there's something that we can do. I saw last week that Indio School District got an $8.9 million grant to improve their internet services for the students that can't be reached so they can reach everybody. And with Congressman Ruiz coming from Coachella Valley, we have a nice connection here with the infrastructure plan that's been passed, you know, at the federal level, a bipartisan bill. And I'm wondering if we can reach out, you know, and try to get some kind of appropriations to get this internet system taken care of once and for all, so that all students can receive it. I'm a math teacher, and I use UCI, spiral homework and stuff, and it's something that they do all year. And I tell my students, if you do this spiral homework, you're gonna promote, you know, and it's true, the kids that do it. So it's imperative. When I get parent concerns, it bothers me, you know, and that's why I'm here. That's it. Just leave it at that. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Moving on. Motion to enter into closed session. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We will be back at
7:30.
7:30. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, we're back. We had a motion and a second to return to open session. Motion carried 6-0. Item 3.2. Oops, wait a minute. I went a little bit ahead of ourselves. Yep, nope, there we go. Item 3.2, announcement of action taken in closed session.
The Coachella Valley Unified School District Board took action during closed session to appoint Summer Martinez as Director of Certificated Human Resources, effective September 13, 2024, on this 12th day of September 2024. The motion was made by Trinidad Arredondo, second by Jesus Gonzalez, and the motion carried unanimously. The board took the following action in closed session: approved expulsion case number 23//24-001 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Jesus Gonzalez, second by Trinidad Arredondo, and the motion carried 6-0. The board took the following action in closed session: approved expulsion case number 23-24-002 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Jesus Gonzalez, second by Trinidad Arredondo, and the motion carried unanimously. And the board approved expulsion case number 23/24-003 for clear reinstatement. Motion made by Jesus Gonzalez, second by Trinidad Arredondo, and the motion carried unanimously. That was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Adopted of agenda as submitted.
So
We're
moved.
going to be pulling items 6.1 and 9.1.
I'll motion to adopt the agenda respecting items being pulled.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item, board notification, request to address the board. Thing again. All right, introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it in to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with the maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group requested. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. We have quite a few tonight, so I am asking that you keep it to 3 minutes. And we are going to start with Bill Blasser, Covered Wagon Tours.
In tours. She's been retired for some time, and so has Shelley Alexander, who worked for Coachella Valley Unified School District for many years, and she's been retired. And they both work for me in what we do called covered wagon tours. And we're here in the Valley. We wanted to introduce ourselves to you. You can refer to the flyer that was passed out to you. Barbara, being the teacher that she is, put a little feather on there. There is some meaning behind that, but it's this here. And we're here to introduce ourselves because we've been working with Desert Sands Unified School District for some time. We've been working with Palm Springs Unified School District, and I don't think that we've ever worked with Coachella Valley Unified School District. And we think that your students, your children deserve to come to Covered Wagons. It is a field trip opportunity that is a learning opportunity. As you can see here, it is a fun-filled day where they can explore, discover, hike, ride, sing, and dance. It's a fun-filled day where it's great to be a kid, make a memory of a lifetime on an adventure of learning. And so on the back here, folks, is what you're going to see is some of the options that you'll have. You can do all three. You can pick one. Their pricing's different for all of them. You can do, lunch included or not. We're in the Valley. We're in Palm Desert, Indio border on Washington Street, just north of Sun City, if you know where that is, on the other side of the freeway, north of the 10 freeway. I know we don't have a lot of time to talk now, so I'm leaving this with you to introduce ourselves and to know what it takes to get involved with you guys on a level that would benefit the kids if you think this would. Barbara, you speak.
I should have gone first. There is life after retirement. I drive the mule team. I never thought I'd be saying that as retirement. Anyway, why field trips? This field trip specifically for fourth grade is amazing. You can, having looked at the standards again, cover every one of them and science. Some of the things that you question in school, you learn outside of school, which is why you have a feather. Do you remember coloring turkeys with rainbows? And I always questioned why. Your feather, if you hold it up, came from my ranch. Ruben donated it. You'll see, well, you'll discover. Interactive learning, discovery learning. I've taken a 3-year-old on this tour, and I've taken a 90-year-old, and everybody is as happy. Interactive learning standards, the cost is nothing. I called transportation, $250 to get there for a 4-hour minimum. And I'd like to do a preschool lesson for fourth graders, post activities, and we hope to see you. It's really fun.
So we're hoping that we can create some sort of relationship that allows us to send this information to your teachers, send it to you guys, look it over. If any of you guys want to come to Covered Wagon Tours, experience it, you're more than welcome to. Call us directly at the office, our number's there.
Thank you very
hey,
much.
we just did the gala for Desert Sands Unified School District last April. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Next up is Alma Solorio, correct?
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Alma Solorio, trabajo en la escuela de Oasis, tengo 19 años trabajando para la escuela. Me gusta mucho mi trabajo, me gusta mucho cuidar a los niños y que los niños se sientan seguros con nosotras. Estoy pidiendo un salario justo, un sueldo base justo, porque se dice que nosotros somos esenciales para la escuela, que nosotros somos las primeras que recibimos a los niños, las que estamos con ellos todo el tiempo, curamos sus heridas, los escuchamos y aún así siento que mi trabajo no es valorado. Yo necesito sentir, me gusta mucho, como les dije, mi trabajo, pero yo también necesito sentirme segura en ese trabajo, sobre todo con las horas de trabajo. Eso es todo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Isabel Rosas.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Isabel Rosas, trabajo en la escuela de Oasis como supervisora de seguridad por 19 años también, tiempo en el cual pues nosotros hemos estado allí para el cuidado de los niños. Como dice mi compañera, somos las primeras en recibir a los niños, las que estamos ahí para ellos. Lo que ellos necesiten muchas veces llegan con sentimientos desde su casa y nosotros somos psicólogas, somos enfermeras, somos hasta inclusive pasamos a ser madres en ese momento porque los protegemos, los arropamos y es lo que estamos pidiendo. Estamos pidiendo que igualdad en nuestras horas base. Hay muchos miembros de nuestra familia que tienen 3 horas, 2 horas y media, 3 horas con 15 y no se nos hace justo puesto que todas hacemos el mismo trabajo. Entonces, tampoco es justo que las personas que están siendo contratadas, las personas nuevas, estén entrando con un sueldo base de 3 horas y media. Y las que tenemos años, porque tenemos más miembros de la familia que tienen alrededor de 24 años, 25 años, estén con un salario de 3 horas, 3 horas 15. Entonces necesitamos que ustedes entiendan que somos esenciales, que nos miren, que estamos ahí, que hemos estado para los niños, que somos esenciales en en todo lo que hacemos ahí para la escuela, para los niños, para los maestros inclusive. Nosotros hacemos el trabajo que nadie quiere hacer, porque nadie quiere ir a trabajar por 2 horas. Cuando hemos necesitado que nos sustituyan, no hay gente que vaya, porque nadie quiere estar ahí en el sol, en el frío, en la lluvia, y más sin embargo nosotros ahí estamos. Como les digo, nadie quiere hacer este trabajo. Y nosotros hemos aceptado estar ahí por tantos años porque nos gusta nuestro trabajo, estamos para y por los niños. Entonces les pedimos nada más que lo consideren y que vean, no nos dejen hasta el final de la familia de todo el distrito. Que se nos considere, nada más eso les pedimos. Gracias.
Beatriz Cejas.
Oh, sí, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Beatriz Ceja. Yo también tengo 24 años trabajando en Oasis. Y también me gusta mucho mi trabajo cuidar a los niños, pero también sí estoy aquí por esa razón de que pues siempre a veces nos dicen que somos las más importantes porque vemos a los niños llegar, cómo vienen, si vienen tristes o no, pero también queremos con estar aquí también mirar que, como dijeron mis compañeras, el sueldo base para nosotros también, porque pues yo estoy contenta de estar esta noche aquí hablando, pero también sí ocupamos de que miren en nosotros que como yo dependo de nada más de mi cheque de este trabajo. Yo quedé viuda hace 2 años y no tengo otra entrada de dinero más de que mi cheque para mí es importante también mirar eso, porque pues ya con tantos años que tengo, a lo mejor y tenemos todas ahí, a lo mejor sí necesitamos un poquito de un cambio en nuestro monetario también. Así somos personas que, bueno, al menos yo que no fallo estoy siempre ahí en mi trabajo, no me gusta fallar solo cuando estoy enferma, y pues estoy contento de estar esta noche aquí, y pues ojalá y que nos escuchen, y porque pues a veces nos dice somos las importantes y somos las olvidadas, pues que siempre estamos ahí, que no miran por nosotros, y que gracias por estar aquí esta noche, y es todo. Gracias.
Thank you. María Montoya.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es María Montoya. Yo tengo 20 años trabajando ahí para la escuela y como todas decimos, nos encanta nuestro trabajo. Llegamos contentas todos los días. Si tengamos problemas en casa, tratamos de dar la mejor cara para los niños, porque muchas veces, como dicen ellas, llegan con problemas o simplemente no se sienten a gusto, y ya cuando nos miran a nosotras se sienten cómodos, a gusto. A veces, como dicen ellas, tomamos el papel de mamá, muchas veces curamos sus heridas, somos enfermeras, a veces hasta terapeutas. ¿Por qué? Porque a veces ellos nos tienen la confianza que muchas veces en casa no la tienen, y de que nosotros ahí les damos esa confianza. Y pues estamos aquí esta noche pidiéndoles, por favor, ayúdenos, porque nosotras tantos años que tenemos ahí y siempre hemos estado, les digo a mis compañeras, ya nosotros somos el inventario de aquí de la escuela, porque nos hemos movido de un lado al otro y nosotras seguimos ahí, pero siempre con el corazón haciendo nuestro trabajo. Y pues no pedimos mucho, simplemente que tomen en consideración que nosotros también somos importantes en todos lados, tanto en la escuela como aquí en el distrito, porque a nosotros nos piden ayuden acá, ayuden allá, ahí estamos, siempre. Y pues todas tenemos problemas, todos tenemos cosas en casa, pero muchas veces dejamos de hacer por estar ahí en la escuela. Saben ustedes que nosotros tenemos nuestro horario quebrado, no tenemos nuestro horario corrido. Sin embargo, vamos y venimos, y con el costo de la vida que estamos ahorita, ustedes saben, toda la crisis que hemos pasado de la gasolina, todos los alimentos han subido de precio, y nosotras seguimos ahí por amor a nuestro trabajo. Y pues esa es la razón por la cual estamos aquí, y no nada más pedimos para nosotras, para todas en general, porque muchas no pudieron venir o no estar aquí, pero también estamos luchando por ellas. Gracias.
Thank you. I believe it's Reina Acosta.
Sí. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Reina Costa. Yo soy la más nueva allí en la escuela Oasis, tengo 9 años, pero igual como ya dijeron mis compañeras, desde que somos todo allí, somos maestras y todo, y no, tal vez no tengamos el título, pero sí estamos ahí con los niños porque nos gusta nuestro trabajo y todo. Ahora, como dice mi compañera, no estamos, tal vez para nosotros no sea, o para ustedes no sea mucho, ¿verdad? De que quién puede sobrevivir con 3 horas trabajando, la verdad. O sea, gracias a Dios yo tengo mi esposo, pero como muchas mis compañeras, es solo su sueldo de ellas. Entonces, desde como yo, si yo estuviera sola con mis hijos, ¿cómo les iba a poder comprar leche, huevos, que ahorita están por las nubes? Ahora no estamos pidiendo seguro social porque ya nos dijeron que no, pero de perdida considérennos, por favor, en ese sentido, de que nos den más horas para poder sustituir a nuestra familia pues nuestros gastos, porque yo les digo la verdad, yo en cuanto agarro el cheque ya se me va, porque tengo que pagar esto, tengo que comprar comida, entonces, pues unas horitas extras, diría yo, ¿verdad? Que sí nos ayudarían, hicieran la diferencia. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Creo que es Sonia Rodríguez.
Hi, my name is Sonia Rodriguez, and I'm a safety supervisor for Oasis School. I've been there 2 years, and I love my job as well. And I'm just here to support all the safety supervisors and my fellow coworkers in for us being valued for more hours because we do. I agree with them. We do a great job, and I think we just need to be valued more. Thank you.
Thank you. Veronica Dueñas, supervisor position, safety communication, and Tyler system. You got 9 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Acuna, Dr. Esparza, Superintendent, and Executive Cabinet. As you can see, these wonderful and powerful women that are standing behind me, they are from the safety supervisor position. They are from Oasis School. They start from 24 years down to what you heard, 2 years, right? And what they're asking for is, last year we negotiated a job description with the safety supervisors. We made it a 3.75-hour position. I know that there's a budget restraint, I get that. But what they're asking for is the hours, because reality, the hours that you guys are giving out there to the sites, they're doing extra services on top of that. So why not just add the time to them instead of paying them extra services? Don't make sense. They can be still doing that time. Let's please look into this, because this is one school that came to us for support, because one person can do 3 hours, another one can do 3.5, another one can do 3 3/4. As to we have some still today doing 2.5 hours. And that is dedication at their job, taking care of our students. We tell everybody, hey, you're doing a good job. We love what you do. But imagine coming to work 3 to 4 times out of the day to do 2.5 hours, to do 3 hours. So please listen to them, because the other ones couldn't come, but these stood up and they said, please support us. And that is exactly what we're gonna do until we can see something that can maybe come through the LCAP. I don't know, but this is support for the students, the safety of the students on campus. You guys heard what happened last week, I believe it was, right? Or this week. These are your first people that are gonna be out there. Training, safety, all of that. These are the eyes, and we've said it over and over again. The safety supervisor position needs more love from the district, and that is how I'm going to put it. Why? Because they show the love to your kids,
everybody else's kids. For the time they're getting, we can do better. Thank you. That was that topic. I'm going to go on to the next one. Now it's going to be better. Community safety communication. I would like to really thank all of you. And, you know, I know it's hard. We've had 2 really stressful and strenuous weeks with situations that have happened, you know, due to safety. But the communication is so much better. CSCA really appreciates that you guys, all leadership, right? Dr. Esparza, HR, all the leadership, and the board, to be able to have that communication with our association to let us know what is going on out there. Because I'm gonna tell you, before, it was always CSCA trying to bring these safety concerns and communication up with you guys, right? Hey, this is going on, this is happening, please address this. So now tide has turned, and I am really thankful for that, because that is how we have collaboration with communication. I have always said that also. So thank you, Dr. Esparza, for bringing all that communication and being on the same page as the same with the leadership, right? The board members, you guys already know my president, you know, but that's what it's been about. We've always asked for communication. So I really appreciate that you guys have turned that tide, and we are now collaborating better, and we have better safety communication out there for our membership. Okay. The third one, I believe, was the Tyler system. So here we go. $398,000 is what is going to be paid out plus to a system, right, that we are bringing back. And listen to what I say when I say bringing back. Because what was said was that that system was already there. If the system was there, then why are we paying $398,000 to reinstate it? Okay, so I'm glad that you are bringing it back, but I want you guys to make sure that it is implemented. And what is implemented? That means that it's being used and it is on those buses. And I do not want to hear later on that somebody says, oh, it's on there. I knew for a fact that it was not on there 2, 4, 5 years ago. And I said it was not on there. And it wasn't working. But yet, what was said that it was being thrown at my members, that they were the cause of some of the issues to that program. And that is an insult, because who went out there to go prove that that was happening? Nobody. But it was said to the community that it was happening. No, because you haven't had that system on the buses. They told you it was there, but now it proves to me, because it's on the board agenda under consent item, to say we are reinstating the Tyler system and paying, mind you, another $300,000 that we paid how many years ago to start this program. So please, make sure the system is working, is 1. 2, make sure that your management makes that system work on those buses. And if you're going to point fingers when it doesn't work, don't point it at our people to say that they are the cause. Because then I'm gonna go back again to say, why are you reinstating it? It wasn't there, and I knew it wasn't there. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Melissa Borghetti, I believe it's on the Tyler Technologies.
Hello, my name is Melissa Borghetti. My daughter attends CV High School in the SPED program. Can you hear me?
Just pull the microphone a little closer to you.
How about now?
Yeah.
Ooh. My name is Melissa Borghetti. My daughter attends CV High School in the SPED program. It was perfect timing to come right behind her because that's exactly what I want to talk about. I heard those same rumors that you guys had. I'm sorry if my heart is beating because I'm very passionate about what I'm going to talk about today. I'm probably the reason why this is up for discussion because I've had a lot of complaints about the failed current system with transportation. I want to start off with the first time that it was reported and failed back in 2014 when an 11-year-old autistic child was stuck on the bus for 4 hours after school because of a failed system. For whatever reason, I'm not blaming individuals, but it was failed. They did not check the seats for him to find that he was sleeping. That's the first reported incident that went to the news. The second time will be my daughter in 2017. My daughter is completely nonverbal, mentally disabled, and they lost her for 2 hours. You cannot imagine what I felt as a parent when they told me they could not find her on the bus. I'm gonna make it short, I'm not detailed, but we got her back after 2 hours and I complained to the district. And I followed up with the director of transportation. I said, what is being done to implement that this will never happen again? And he said that they had put tags on the backpacks with the student's name and address and all their information. So I never followed up after that because I thought, okay, they fixed the problem. Let's flash back to now, June. This past June, my daughter was in summer school again. They lost her en route. Gave me the runaround because they could not find what bus she was on because of a substitute driver. You can imagine what I felt, this being the second time. And because I've lost trust in the system and transportation, on the first day of school, I called twice to make sure that they had the right address with the right parent because her dad and I are divorced, 2 different houses. I made them repeat back to me the correct addresses and days. It was correct. I called again the same day just to make sure there was communication. They repeated back, it was correct. On day 2, Friday, I got a call from transportation with an attitude where I was at because my daughter was at the location to be dropped off to find that they were at the wrong location. Now my time is up, but I'm just here to say, like, how would you feel if this was your child? This system is not difficult. This would never happen if I can see where my daughter is at all times. And I know what she said, that's an entirely different issue and that has to do with the department, but I'm talking about the safety and security of my child, and my child cannot be the only one. But this has happened to me 3 different times, specifically with Coachella Valley District. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I wanted to say Diane Lopez, or did I didn't get it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, all. My name is Diane Lopez, and I'm really, really upset with the last 2 incidents that has happened at CB Unified School District. With the first incident with the kid with the gun, second incident, a bomb and a gun. I want to know what you're going to do to protect our kids. You know, I fear every morning that I let my niece, every morning my niece lives with me and she goes to school. I wonder if she's going to come home. I want solutions. I want answers from you. You know, you work for us. We are the taxpayer that pay your salary. I want this to be a topic for everyone. I want my niece to come home. I'm sure the students and faculty and teachers also have the same fear. Will they get to go home? Or someone go and identify a sneaker or a piece of item? We don't need a Columbine shooting here. We don't need a Uvalde shooting here. We need you to take action. You need to protect our students. You need to do more, be more proactive. And I want answers. I want to know what you're going to do to protect our students, faculty, staff, everyone who's at the school. What are you going to do to make sure our kids come home safely every day? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Cervantes? Elizabeth Cervantes? Krista Carrera, SB 553, CBA violations, and 15.1. 9 minutes.
Okay, good evening. Carissa Carrera on behalf of CVTA. The first item I would like to talk about is item 15.1, the certificated HR report. If you take a look at part 7, items 3, 6, and 7 regarding approval for department chairs in the middle schools, never before has there been a job description created as part of an extra services request. These 3 items list duties that department chairs have never been required to do, and I can only assume that this is an attempt to create a job description where one does not currently exist. If you will notice items 2 and 13, they are for the same extra services position, but do not include a made-up job description. Don't get me wrong, CVTA is not opposed to a job description for department chairs because over the years we have seen admin at various sites requiring all sorts of different things, and there has been no consistency. Again, the concern is that these 3 items, if board approved as written, may constitute a change in working conditions for my members, and it is therefore a mandatory subject of bargaining and would constitute yet another unfair labor practice. I did ask HR to remove the 3 items from the report, but was told they could not do so as you, the board, have asked for more detail for the extra services. It has always been my goal to work collaboratively with the district to implement procedures and help the district achieve their goals. But by leaving CVTA out of the conversations, another situation has been created which will force me to consult again with our attorney about another unfair labor practice. That's that one. The next item is collective bargaining agreement violations. As you know, the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, is an agreement between 2 parties, the district, you guys, and Coachella Valley Teachers Association. Both parties have agreed that it is in the best interest of all parties, students included, to abide by these agreements. It has come to my attention that there are plans within the district to violate Article 28.3C and Article 7.2. I am not implying that anyone is intentionally planning to violate the CBA, just that their plans will violate it. Article 7.2 reads that, and I am paraphrasing, the CBA supersedes any rules, regulations, or practices of the district. As you know, it is now a practice to exclude CVTA from any sort of planning or communications within the Ed Services Department. Perhaps it's also a rule, I'm not sure. Regardless, it is happening and you've known about it for months. Article 28.3C reads that approved programs must be prepared for implementation before the first instructional day of each school year. This means that any program the district wishes to implement in any given school year, materials and training must occur prior to the first instructional day. As I said, it has come to my attention that there are at least 3 new programs the district is wanting to implement, but no one has been trained, materials have not been prepared, and there are plans to implement them even though the first instructional day has come and gone. Is this an oversight or a complete disregard for the rules that you agreed to? I'm going to presume good intentions and assume that it is an oversight, and I will come back to that in a moment. I would like to take you back several years to the implementation of iPads in our district. If you recall, there was no training, and the iPads were not ready for use by the first instructional day. What was the result of that? No one was required to use the iPads that year, even though the district wanted full implementation and for teachers to be evaluated on the use of iPads. That didn't happen that year. In fact, that didn't happen the year after that or the one after that, and even now. No explicit iPad instruction has ever been given to the entire staff of CVUSD in a way that has allowed for full implementation and evaluation. This is not what I want for our teachers or students. I'd like to see timely PD and full access to materials on time as we've agreed to. Again, my goal is to work collaboratively with the district and specifically Ed Services in order to help the district achieve their goals. However, CVTA leadership has been banned and excluded from any conversations about program implementations this year. I would have personally ensured everyone involved remembered the timeline in order to have successful implementation. Again, you may need to rethink these new exclusionary practices which you are allowing. That's the end of that one. And finally is Workplace Violence Prevention Program, Senate Bill 553. As of July 1st, 2024, employers are required to create a workplace violence prevention program, train employees, and maintain specific records. The law defines workplace violence as any act of violence or threat of violence that occurs in a place of employment and includes a threat or use of physical force against an employee that results in or has the high likelihood of resulting in injury, psychological trauma, stress, regardless of whether the employee sustains an injury. It is important to note here that a threat without any follow-through must be recorded as a workplace violence. The employer is also required to inform employees of the specifics of this law and its renewed focus on the CSSPs to make sure safety is a priority to create a safe, secure learning environment for students and school personnel. The plan should be in writing and shall be available and easily accessible to employees, authorized employee representatives, and representatives of Cal OSHA at all times. The training is required to cover various aspects, including the following, which is important to point out that the Keenan video we all had to watch did not. Familiarizing employees with the plan, how to obtain a copy of it, how to participate in the development and the implementation of the plan, how to report workplace violent incidents without fear of retaliation, understanding violence hazards and preventative measures, opportunities, this is the important one, for an interactive discussions with someone knowledgeable about the employer's plan. Not sure how watching a 23-minute video allowed for interactive discussions. As stated, employees must maintain a log of all incidents of workplace violence, even if the incident did not result in injury. This log must include information on every workplace violence incident based on statements, employee statements, witness statements, and investigation findings. And there's a list I'm going to skip of what it needs to include, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be recorded into that log. And it requires that you collect this data and review it on an ongoing basis in order to make modifications to the training and the plan. With all that being said, there is also an expectation that employee representatives are involved in the creation of this plan since it directly affects the working conditions of employees. CVTA was not included, although we did reach out to ask. This is likely another unfair labor practice, just one of many we are speaking to our attorney about. After a thorough search on the district website, we could find nothing related to an accessible written plan. The training provided to employees was a 23-minute Keenan video, which violates the requirement that it be interactive, allowing for questions and answers. We have asked to see the violent incident logs at 11 sites so far, at all levels, and not one of them knew what we were referring to. We were told things as, we log it on Aries, only admin has access to it, but mostly they had no idea what we were talking about.
Please wrap it up, please.
I will finish this.
Your time is expired.
You've let everybody tonight go over their time.
I'm letting you go over your
California
time, but you're not
employers
gonna run
who do
over.
not comply with Senate Bill 553 may face a number of consequences, including fines up to $25,000 per violation for serious violations and $158,727 for willful violations. The severity of the fine depends on several factors.
Your time has expired. You've gone over
Okay,
more than
then
that.
that's
Let
what
everybody else.
Elizabeth, that's what hers was. It says that she was supposed to go after me so that this could be finished. Can she do that?
Your time has expired. We called her. She didn't come up. We're over.
Because we specifically asked for her to go after me.
We asked her to come up. She refused. Your time has expired. We allowed you to go over. Time has expired.
Did you allow me to go over as much as the people with the covered
absolute-
wagons thing?
actually
Because
more.
that was about a minute and a
Actually,
half
more.
over.
Actually, more, so, yes.
Really?
I know
Okay.
you're going to go back and time it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
You can go
Well,
back and
the
time it.
key
But
point
your time
is-
has expired.
You guys are open to several OSHA complaints, hundreds of thousands
Be
of
happy
dollars.
to receive them. We'll be happy to address them. All right, moving on. 5.1, I don't believe we have any written communications. 5.2, board member reports, board member requests for future board meetings. Board member Arredondo.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the public comments. They are important, and we are listening. I've spent my last 2-3 weeks prior to this meeting visiting school sites, just talking to principals, talking to families, and just visiting classrooms. And I'd like to thank all the school sites that have, welcomed me and taken me and shown me around. And there's a lot of things that we still need to work on. And so, I'm sure that our staff here are continuing to look at the things that we need to get done, especially, carpet replacement, right? Making sure that students have adequate spaces for them to learn, and that's having a good classroom. So, but I did see a lot of good things. I got to see the dual language classes. I got to see ethnic studies classes. I got to see English classes. I got to see, CTE classes. I got to see a lot of things. So thank you for all the staff that are making sure that our students have everything they need to just succeed here in our school district. A couple of requests that I have for future board meetings, Dr. Esparza, is one is our update on transportation and the services that our transportation departments provide, and a presentation on the Tyler system. I'd also like a presentation on, and I know maybe not next meeting, but a meeting after that on what we're doing to address some of the safety concerns that parents have. And so I know that we sent out a letter, but I know that maybe we need to have a presentation and actually have just update everybody on what we're doing. So the events that have occurred in our school district, we don't take them lightly. Our safety and security of all our students, staff is very, very important, and it's of our first priority. So I know that we need to continue to communicate. We need to over-communicate. We need to make sure that everybody understands when things occur, when things are said, that safety and security are the most important for us as a school district. So with that, I'll end my comments and just want to say thank you for all the work that you guys are doing for day in and day out. Everybody that's in this room, our teachers, our support staff, everybody who's making it happen for our students. Thank you for everything that you do. That's it, Mr. President.
Board member Gonzalez.
I have no report, Mr. Cunha.
Board member Garcia.
To echo my colleague, of course, we thank everyone who spoke to us today. We don't take any of this lightly, and we understand that staff is absolutely essential. We're thankful for everyone who cooperated with us, staff and students, and then the families. I'm happy that communication was flowing more freely, and I'm happy that staff is feeling that way as well. It's still completely nerve-wracking, though, and the fact that we've had so many things happen. It's been unusually hot, even for here. We've got ash in the air, and then to have these reports during a time when so much was going on in the world. Yes, absolutely. We take it all seriously. We want to make sure that we're doing the best for our students. We want to make sure that they have a place to voice concerns, but we also want everyone to be clear on what should be reported or not. It puts everyone at such a terrible situation when there are false claims. So that was really disheartening to understand, because everyone was in a panic both times, so close together. So I feel for the speakers who approached us today. I have family that goes to that school, so I heard it from parents and family members. And then my nephew is there, so his take on everything, I mean, it was just chaotic, and we completely appreciate that that was the case. So thank you for letting us figure out if there's more that we can do. I'll end it there. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to recognize our Board Member Gonzalez to give us an update on the Facilities Committee meeting that we had earlier.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Acuna. As always, we get reports of all the projects that we're taking on. We got a report on that we're at the tail end of Palmview. It's been going for a long time. We're at the end of Phase 5. We get updates on North Shore School, where that's going. And we also get a list of projects that have been prioritized by our Director of Facilities, right? And now collaborating closely with our maintenance department. And I mean, you know, I heard the gentleman talk about how he visits a lot of schools. Mr. Arredondo visits a lot of schools. And what I'm hearing is that he goes around making promises. And unfortunately, we have a protocol by how we should be addressing these issues. And it's very sensitive, right? Because we have schools that are over 100 years old. And it doesn't matter where we look, there's need, right? There's need. And that's why we prioritize projects based on the immediacy of addressing the issue. And with all due respect to the gentleman, I think it's imperative that we follow protocol. We do have a Director of Facilities. We have a great person in maintenance. We have a lot of work to do, but I caution the liability of going around to respective school sites making promises. As a board member, I do chair the Facilities Committee. I'm privy to what's going on in the question of facilities, and we have a lot of work, no doubt. We have a lot of work that needs to be done, and when we get done with the work, we probably have got to come back to that same school because it takes us a long time to get around to all the school sites. So again, I'd like to remind the board members that it's very difficult to sidestep or not follow protocol, and it puts the school district in a potential liability question. And we do have a process. We do have directors of facilities and maintenance. It's imperative that we follow protocol.
There are no promises made, Mr. Gonzalez. And if you have proof, then bring it forward.
Board Member Paz.
Good evening, everyone. So yeah, on the topic of safety, it is a very difficult situation, right, to be receiving threats and not knowing whether those threats are real or not, what we should be doing. And so I do appreciate, like Ms. Veronica said, about that the communication has been out there, that there's a lot more proactiveness and taking, I mean, showing, demonstrating with actions that we take every threat seriously, and that the proper people were notified and that the matter was looked into. I still think that we need to have, it's a very delicate line because we want everybody to report if they feel unsafe, that they should have the means to, but we also need to be educating our students, maybe starting there, about how to determine, right, if it's a credible threat. Did they hear it? I mean, what are some guidance that can be given to them? What's substantiated, what's not? And obviously not putting it on them. I mean, even us as adults, right, how do we know? But there's got to be more education, assuming that what they're doing, it's not just to be disruptive. But if it is to be disruptive, then they need also to be explained, like what the potential consequences are, right? So I really hope that we can have those conversations with our students and just what it means to report a threat. And maybe, I mean, maybe it's law enforcement, maybe it's somebody who knows more than, I mean, I know about how to identify threats, but I think there really needs to be some effort looking into this with experts who know about this. The on the topic of budgeting, right, and we are in difficult situations. And in the past, I've always said we shouldn't wait to have budget conversations until May, June, and then adopt it in July, because that's too late. And in addition to that request for this year, I think we need to be doing some participatory budgeting. I can understand when either parents or staff come and ask for, or are displeased, right, with the options or decisions that we're making as a board. And I think we could get a lot farther if they could be included in a budgeting process where they help identify and understand, like, these are the numbers, this is all we have, how do we do this? And there's people, again, trained in how to do this so that it's inclusive and there's parameters set and can, I mean, I would really like to see us get to a point. Ideally, when we have money, it would be really fun, because then people can, determine how to spend money. But even in times when there's less money, it could just maybe unify us a little bit more. And thank you for both union reps for coming up and sharing your perspectives with us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I'll keep my comments brief. I feel like in terms of safety, the comments that were shared already, I definitely do support, a lot of the things that were shared. I know it is unfortunate. I think, working in a school, we're also thinking about those things, right? When we're interacting with the public or our students, and it is a concern, right? So thank staff, our teachers, our staff, our administrators who, were experiencing those moments of tension, right? It's really stressful. And so I think just being able to have the level head and mindset to be able to go through the experience, right? I appreciate staff for that. I think safety will never be kind of like a one done and deal conversation. So I'm hoping that we take advantage of our committees, right? We do have a number of committees that are established for the main purpose of having these conversations as well. So I think that, some of the pieces, today's public comment, there are a couple things that I can already see, we should be having conversations in the policy committee or other committees that we've already established. But I agree with the comments that were shared about the severity of making false, claims and really the amount of resources that really takes away from other needs around the district. And so the other thing, I did have the opportunity to join a community meeting around air quality, and right now with the fires and things like that, I think two days ago, it was just really poor quality in the air, right? And so I think just being mindful, I know we have something around, the heat, and I know that staff's thinking about, our air quality and how we're, doing activities outside, but something to keep in mind. And then in terms of reports, I'm hoping somewhere down the line, I think we, as we're considering some of our budgetary challenges, really looking at, the concept of enrollment management, really planning and looking for the future, right? I think having some sort of presentation around our enrollments and what that looks like at our different sites once we have, numbers kind of settled would be great for us to start looking down the road in terms of our enrollments and staffing. Thank you.
Thank you, board members. First of all, thank everyone who comes out and gives us their opinion. Thank you all for sharing. I do, kind of talking a little bit about safety, I do want to thank our team, our IT team, and the Sheriff's Department and the City of Coachella for taking an aggressive measure. My understanding is both of the ones that we got were false reports. And again, what do you do? We don't know why they're doing them. A few years or not even a year ago, we had that same kind of pattern. We have a board meeting, we start getting false calls. But the problem is that, as our board members have said, we have to treat every single one of them as a credible threat. We have to do that. But like I said, I want to thank our team, but also the sheriffs who decided, hopefully, to take an aggressive action. We've seen them take some action in another school district where they had a threat out there. And again, this is the partnership that we have. We're working with the city of Coachella, who's actually their responsibility for public safety in the city of Coachella. CV High School seems to be targeted for some reason. And it is in the city, and they are responsible with the sheriff's department. So I think everybody has decided that, look, we want, as was said, we want to make sure that our students, if they have a credible threat, to be able to say this. But, more and more, they're becoming, we're finding out that they're just simply false. And, people get, scared. It's a form of terrorism in some ways to do this. And I don't know if they think it's funny or if it's some kind of organized, or I don't want to go to school today, or I don't know what the heck it is. But, we get parents, I think all of us got parents to call and find out, is this really happening? What is this? And, then kids don't come to school. Staff is concerned because, again, we don't know what things that are happening in our community. So I think it's a twofold kind of thing. The education, we need to educate not only our students, our staff in some ways, and our community, our parents, that, they need to kind of keep an eye on their students. And then secondly, I think we need to let them know that if you're doing false ones, we're going to go after you. And I mean, we got to hold people accountable. We talk about it, and this is part of it. So, again, there's only, I don't want to say there's only so much we can do, but how do you stop people from just doing things like that? It's very hard. But again, I think actively going after those who are doing it. And again, there are some students who call, and there are credible bills. It's happened in this district when we've had reports and we found things, and thank those kids for speaking up. But here we are again, kind of going through that same little pattern that we've had in the past. And again, for some reason, CV High School seems to be singled out. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's their favorite place to target. Additionally, thank you for those who came up to talk about the safety supervisors. I mean, it is an issue. We are looking at all our budgetary options right now. Obviously, you've seen our budget. We've seen our budget. We are working through that. So thank you for that. And then, we're just going to try to keep moving forward, right? There's a lot of craziness going on, but we're gonna move forward, and we'll make the best decisions that we think we can make, and you guys decide. Our parents will decide if they like it or not. I appreciate you coming and talking to us about the transportation issue. I mean, it has been an issue back and forth. A lot of different reasons why. And again, going back to one of those things where we approve things up here and they never get implemented. It goes back to some of that as well, and that's very frustrating for us. Obviously, we're responsible for everything, but it is very frustrating when we approve things, our administrative staff gives a direction, and then it's not implemented or it's not done. And that is very frustrating. So those are things that we need to work on and looking forward. With that, I'll end my comments. Dr. Esparza.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight, and those that are with us. Can you hear me? Those that are with us. The safety of our students and staff remain our top priority. We've implemented comprehensive measures to ensure that secure learning environments are credible and that we are updating our emergency protocols regularly, starting with safety drills at all the schools. And please know that every school has a comprehensive safety plan that is reviewed every year. And we've gotten very serious this year in making sure that those comprehensive plans are shared with staff members. So I want parents to know that staff will be, if they haven't, and we are pushing our principals to have those conversations with staff and making sure that we are constantly doing our drills, from our lockdown drills to our earthquake drills to our fire drills. It's necessary. Some people might feel like it's redundant, but we always need to make sure that we are prepared. And so know that as the leader of the district, I am looking into making sure that every single school site and every single principal is working with their staff and training them and teaching them. And we also have a director of emergency operations now who'll be working closely
with our Director of Security to ensure that Alice training is throughout the entire district, and so that we offer it not just to our teachers or our paraprofessionals, but to every single department in the district. And so that is something that we are committing to, and making sure that everybody is Alice trained, which is an emergency crisis management training. And just like Ms. Boss, Board Member Boss has stated, making sure that our students know what is wrong and what could get them into trouble in regards to false reporting. But when do you really report, and what is it that you need? What type of facts do you need to really report? Some of our students may not know that, so it takes all of us to be able to teach them that. And so what we'll be doing is making sure that through our SEL programs that are offered through Student Support Services, that we start to implement that. We embed that a piece within that education that every student at elementary school gets every morning, and that every student at the secondary level gets at least once a week. And so I just wanted to make sure that parents out there know, that the staff out there knows, and that our administrative are reminded that we are to train our staff, to give them the information, to make sure that we're meeting with our families as well, school site council, our ELAC, that they also have an update on what are the safety protocols at each and every school site. And so that is a commitment that we are making as a district, and we're very happy that we're safe, and that these have been false reports so far, and that we are working closely with our Sheriff's Department to make sure that we partner to ensure that if anything is reported, that you are aware as a parent and as a staff member, and that we make sure that everyone is safe, that we're debriefing, and that we're briefing people as well. Again, like the communication that was sent out, the letter, and making sure that everybody knows what's happening, and that there's not different stories going around. Coachella Unified School District is a large school district, over 1,200 square miles. And so by the time it gets from either the Salton Sea area here or vice versa, stories change. So we want to make sure that we provide you accurate information and timely information. And so we appreciate your patience with us throughout this time, throughout this week, actually throughout since last Friday, with these false reports, and making sure that, you know, we're committed again to providing you updated communication on how we're going to keep our students and staff safe. So thank you.
All righty, thank you. Moving on. Item 7, action 7.1, Dr. Esparza, approval of the revised certification of signatures form.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 8.1, action. Director Hernandez requesting approval of memorandum of understanding between Friends of the Children and Coachella Valley Unified School District. Do I hear a motion?
I'll second.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There was a motion.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. The mask, I guess I didn't hear you. Motion and a second. Anybody have any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Director Hernandez requesting approval of board resolution for licensure of preschool program at Coral Mountain Academy.
Motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 8.3, Director Hernandez requesting approval of agreement with the Riverside County Superintendent of Schools
Motion? to
through
accept
the
subject-
Community Schools Program Agreement.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, Director Sanchez requesting approval of purchase with Apple for iMac desktop computers for Toro Canyon Middle School.
So move.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.5, Director Sanchez requesting approval of purchase of Apple for laptops with charging station carts for La Familia.
So move.
Have a motion, hear a second?
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item 8.6, Director Sanchez requesting approval of purchase with Subject Technologies, Inc. for additional subject online learning licenses for La Familia.
So move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? No time. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.7, Director Sanchez requesting approval to purchase Avid supplies for Toro Canyon Middle School.
So move.
A motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on these?
Just a comment. So when I look at items like this, I'm always in the back of my mind wondering what the process is for keeping inventory and that there is a process. So that's just a question if you haven't noticed, I've asked when there's just supplies and supplies, it would make me feel like we are more effectively managing our dollars. Not that we don't have to spend it, but how we're spending it, and that there is actual inventory being kept to sort of inform the quantities, what we need, versus just getting a list like that. I'm like, well, I just need to trust, right, that somebody's keeping inventory and that this is what's needed. So that's my comment.
Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 8.8, Director Pantoni, requesting approval of ELSB grant annual report and final budget. Do I hear a motion?
Motion?
Do I hear a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this item?
I have a question. In the budget report for the last year, year 3, they list 3 intervention teachers. And I'm just wondering whether these were additional intervention teachers, because my understanding was that we were paying for intervention teachers through the ESSER funding unless it was done differently at Oasis. And yeah, it caught my attention that I would see intervention teachers being paid for by this grant.
And so with that's separate, it was separate, so these are different, these are separate intervention teachers.
So we had additional?
Yes, and they get the different grant funding because they are CSI as well.
No, yeah, I understand like how the school got the grant, but I was, just needed that clarification about the intervention teachers. Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2, Director Everson, approval of purchase global positioning systems components for the White Fleet.
So move.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any comments on this? Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.3, Director Bice, approval for security cameras to be installed at Saul Martinez and Mecca Elementary. Do I hear a motion?
I have a motion, but I have a comment.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Alderano.
Mr. President, I know that this security issue had come up before at Saul Martinez, and I believe through facilities, we approved something to come forward, it came forward, and we had approved this a long time ago. But if this is a new item, then, we'll vote on it, but I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Go ahead.
I am unaware that this came to the board before. This is a new item. They did the walkthrough about a month ago, and this is they went through the whole bidding process, whole 9 yards.
Because I believe that there were security issues a year and a half ago, and they requested floodlights and fencing,
There was a
That was
fencing
approved.
question, but the cameras were at CV High School.
So they weren't here? Okay.
I don't believe so.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions on that? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 10.1, Assistant Superintendent, I'm going to work on it, okay? Makowitz? Yes. Okay. Approval of replacement of job description of Director of Community Schools for Coordinator Community Schools Initiative.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
A second, I thought we also approved this last time. So
So,
is there a change?
we have a
again to
motion
it?
and a second. Do
A
you have a
second.
question? Yes, we did have a change. It was part of the package.
So with the community schools grant, what we had offered was a different salary scale. And so the change had to be made with the title. So this is actually a coordinator position and the salary is a different salary. The state has given us an entire list of all the items and things and basically supports that we can use these monies on. And so it's a very restricted budget for that salary.
Okay, thank you for the information.
Any other questions on this? Sorry, any other questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board considers the motion unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar, in which event the items will be considered separately. The superintendent, assistant superintendent of Ed Services, Business and Finance, and Human Resources recommend the approval of the consent calendar. Do I hear a motion?
President Acuna, I motion to approve the consent calendar, respecting any board members wanting more information on any one item.
Okay, do I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, anybody want to pull something? Nobody wants to pull anything? Oh, you do, okay.
15.1?
16.1?
15?
15.1. Anybody else? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 15.1, go ahead.
So if there is an issue with having descriptions in there, I understand that we want more information, and that's fine, but maybe it's not supposed to be something that we ratify here in the vote. So if that can be fixed, then I have no issue.
I motion to approve 15.1 as is.
Well, I'll answer your question because I did not request job descriptions. We wanted what actually the jobs are going to be. Because a lot of them, as you guys recall, they came, they had no, like, what are you doing? How is this supporting kids? How are the supporting staff? It was just, I want hours for this. And so the request originally came from me, and then others had mentioned, yes, it would be nice to know what they are doing. Now, I'm not sure they're all job descriptions, but at least we'd like to know what the benefit, is going to be doing, what they're actually going to be doing. So that was me. I don't know, you want to clean it up? I'm not looking for a whole job thing that everybody has to pass, but it would be nice to know when they say we're going to do community outreach, what type of community outreach, what is it for, what's the purpose?
President Acuna, I motion to approve this item. The last meeting, the last time we talked about it, was the other way. Right. And so we got to stop.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe if it would work for the record, for us to be in agreement that this is not a job description. Like, for me, I don't see it that way. A job description would look very differently, like the one we just approved. And I mean, I'm okay with knowing what they're doing, but understanding that this is not a job description.
That's not what, and again, that's not what I requested. Originally, I requested to know exactly what they were doing and
Yeah,
how
like-
it was.
Like what extra service, I guess
What
the
it- what-
question
what
you've asked
services
is
were
like,
you
yeah, what are
doing?
we paying for that's extra?
Right,
I guess
exactly.
has been the question.
I think it's just the fact that it's in this report, right? Because you can have that information, but it being in this report and then us
Well,
voting on it.
I mean, well, again, I mean, I hear a lot of talk about transparency. Wouldn't it be transparent so the community can actually look and see what all this extra services money is? Or is it just, if you want it, go get it, but not on this report? I mean,
It's more like if it's subject to bargaining, then that's the route we need to go.
they're extra services. We're just asking to know what extra services are being done. That was it. That was the original concept of it.
And we're being
again,
consistent across the board?
I keep getting that we're not transparent, that we don't tell, well, I think everybody wants to know. Yes?
I call the question.
Just comment.
Anything else?
I have
That
a
was my
comment.
comment.
Okay.
I have a comment, just real quick comment. I mean, I think for me, it's been helpful to know what the service is, right? I don't know that there's any other place where we're able to see. And so I think in terms of ensuring that we're not duplicative or spending dollars in a way that maybe it's already in a job description, I think it was helpful to just get a description of what the extra service is. Because I feel like there's been other extra services requested where sometimes there's not enough for us to tie it to like an outcome and say, yes, this is a good way of spending our money.
Anybody else? We have a motion. Do I hear a second? To approve 15.1?
I seconded
Oh,
already.
you did? I'm sorry. And, right, yeah.
And we're going to be consistent across the board, that's all. Okay.
We should be. I
Okay,
think that's
yeah.
been the request, right?
Yeah.
That for every extra services, we should know, like what.
What it is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. After all of that, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-1. Item, I think we're done. Item 16.1, we don't have anything. Item 16.2, motion to adjourn. I have a
Second?
motion. I have a second. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 6-0, 9:23. Thank you all for attending.